Hi and welcome to another Ringspan brake product video. Today we have the DX280 here, our new thruster disc brake, and we show you how to set it up and adjust the brake, so stay tuned to find out more. I'm standing here today with Manuel Franz, our brake product manager. Hi Manuel, welcome. Manuel, I see that we have 4 tools lying here on the table. So we have wrenches in the metric sizes 13, 17, 36 and 46. So what other tools do we need to make the adjustment of the brake?
For the beginning, that's all.
That's not too much. Let's take a look at the test setup that we have here. Manuel, I see a vise, I see the brake disc and I see the brake. So what's the idea behind the setup that we have?
The idea is just simple, because we want to simulate a fixed disc. This is why we have put this brake disc into this vise and we have fixed this vise onto the table.
Oh, okay. So if we think about a crane, for example, the motor and the coupling is missing, the gearbox is missing, but for our video, we won't need that. Okay, so let's start with the first step, the centering of the brake. For the video, we have put the brake just before the brake disc. So on a crane, of course, we would have a device to lift the brake. Here, we are lucky we can push the brake forward, so let's start with that. So the brake, how we see it here, is basically the exact same way as it would leave the factory. So that means the adjustment is with a very large air gap, so we can install it on the brake disc. Manuel, what would we have to do if we don't have a big enough air gap for the setup?
The first step has to be, we have to deactivate the wear compensation unit. And we do it in this way, we have to remove this activation strap of the wear compensation.
Okay, so what would happen if somebody forgets to do that?
The problem in this case will be, because in this strap there is this activation pin running up and down, this might break in that case.
Let's take a look at that. At first, we are going to take a look how it's not done. So Manuel is going to readjust the air gap with the strap being attached. So let's see what would happen. So you see that the automatic wear compensation pin is being pushed down. For the case that the strap is still attached, you would see that the force on the pin would simply, by the turning of the wrench, would getting too big and it would simply break. So we don't want that. So what we have to do is, we have to remove the strap. So now you can see that if Manuel continues the rotation, there's no more obstacle and the pin will not break. So now after we have put the brake in its position where we need it on the brake disc, we are going to adjust the reserve stroke of the thruster. And we can also see that by doing that, the brake will center itself due to the very nice self-centering device that we have. So the brake is now centered. The next step would be that we are adjusting the spring tension of the spring. When the brake is coming from the factory, it's adjusted to 20%. So let's say you want to have 80% of the maximum capacity. We suggest to go a little bit below that value, because when you're done with that and you start to adjust the reserve stroke of the thruster, you will see that the spring tension goes up a little bit. So now we have adjusted the contact force to the desired value. I would say it's a perfect moment to also electrically connect the thruster. For our video, we have a small control box with which we can open and close the brake electronically. So when we are closing the brake now, you can see and you can hear that the thruster is closing completely. That means that we are not able to provide contact force over the levers to the brake disc. So this is why we have to adjust the reserve stroke, that the thruster is not closing completely. And that's what we do right here. So now we are going to adjust the reserve stroke. And to do that, we have to measure from that point here to the upper part of the piston head. So for this thruster that you see, that's, I would say, 87 millimeters. For that brake, we need a reserve stroke of 10 millimeters. So to the 87 millimeters, we have to add this 10 millimeter stroke, so 97 millimeters. And this is what Manuel is doing right now. To make this adjustment, this is why we also need the electrical connection. He's going to open the brake, which is going to make it much easier for him to rotate here on the spindle. Measure again. And we have 93 millimeters, so a little bit is missing. Measure again. 96, so just a little bit. I would say that's pretty good, 97 millimeters. So that's how you adjust the reserve stroke. So now we've adjusted the reserve stroke and also the pre-tension of the brake spring. So when we take a look now at the spring tube, we can see that we're exactly at the 80% of the maximum clamping force that we wanted to achieve for this demonstration video. So if you haven't done this already, now's the point where you're using the bolts to connect the brake with the base frame of the crane or machine, whatever you have. So make sure that you only hand tighten the bolts, and then you open maybe 4 to 5 times the brake and close it again, so you make the final centering of the brake to the disc. So now you've done the final centering and you're really tightening the bolts and the brake is going to be fixed. For this video, we are going to use these quick releases here because, as you can see, we don't have the bore pattern that we actually need. So now we are going to adjust the parallel air gap of the brake linings. So to do that, we have each one hex nut at the backside of the brake shoe. So what we are going to do is, or what Manuel is going to do, he's opening the brake. And then we can adjust the parallel air gap just by rotating the hex nut here. And I would say, looks about right. So once you've closed the brake, don't forget to fix the counter nut. And you're done. All right, I would say we've successfully adjusted the brake. But wait, haven't we forgot anything?
The strap for the wear compensation is missing.
So let's do that. So to do that, Manuel is going to rotate the pin of the automatic wear compensator to its initial position, and then we can reinstall the strap in its initial position. Thanks, Manuel. I don't know about you, but I had so much fun adjusting that brake.
Me too.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned and make sure to watch our next Ringsprung brake product videos.